While it was raining, screams began to be heard throughout the area. Soryang was in shock, not knowing what was happening. While on the other side, Hyeon looked toward the direction of the screams and realized that someone was here. Looking toward the bushes, they saw men dressed as ninjas. Two were hiding and one was standing. The queen bee started attacking the man, who was somewhat confused since he didn't know why there was a bee in the training wing. Soryang and Hyeon began to observe this, and it didn't take them long to realize that they were intruders. Hyeon knew she had to act. With a furious expression, she dashed towards the intruders, asking Soryang to shoot the arrow. She moved so quickly that she left dust all along the way. Soryang put his arms in front of his face in surprise. He didn't know what she was planning to do. The queen bee was biting one of the intruders' ears, who grabbed her and with tears in his eyes asked for help from the others to get her off him. One of the ninjas turned towards Soryang and upon seeing Hyeon approaching, panicked and gave the order to his companions to retreat. The queen bee clung onto the intruder. The other two jumped and began scattering. Hyeon started running quickly toward them, asking them to stop. Upon seeing that two intruders wanted to flee, she filled herself with determination and pulled out a whip. Using all her strength, she struck the ground, creating a small explosion. But luckily, the intruders jumped and dodged the attack. Her eyes widened in surprise upon seeing that they had evaded her lash. The man who was being attacked by the queen bee drew his sword and began advancing toward her. The queen bee clung to his head. It was adorable. Soryang couldn't help but panic. He started shouting, asking Lady Hyeon to be careful. While the queen was sucking the man's head, he unleashed a powerful attack, but to his surprise, Hyeon blocked the attack without much effort using the whip. She began staring at the man with a piercing gaze. Just before the man had time to react, she counterattacked, and when the man realized it, the whip was in front of his face. The attack created a small explosion on the man's body, and the queen bee flew away. After defeating her opponent, she moved gracefully and appeared behind him. The man lost consciousness and fell to the ground. Soryang was open-mouthed and somewhat worried about her. She turned to him and with a calm expression asked him not to worry as she was fine. The man's body began to emit an evil energy, causing him terrible pain. The queen bee sat on Soryang's shoulder, his gaze fixed on the body. He panicked, not knowing who this guy was or if he was dead. Hyeon put the whip inside her clothes, and the strange energy emerging from the man's body caught her attention. She began to observe in silence with a curious expression. Within seconds, the man lost his life, and she revealed that this guy had bitten poison to kill himself, surely because he had something he wanted to hide. Not far from them, someone sensed the presence of the intruders and started shouting to alert the guards. Hyeon turned around and decided to organize a pursuit team and begin the hunt. Our boy started sweating. He was somewhat surprised by her attitude. Hyeon asked him to follow her along with Gu-P, the leader of the Venom Blood unit. It was nighttime, and the forest was illuminated by torches. Soryang, P, and several other members of the clan were chasing after the intruders through the forest. P, who was at the front, knew they couldn't have gone far. With a determined expression, he made it clear that they must capture them at all costs. The others did not seem tired, but Soryang was. He began to sweat and focused on using his two-cylinder engine. By doing this, he forcefully stomped the ground, breaking it into pieces. His body sank into the ground, and he started screaming like a madman. Because of this, small centipedes came out of his clothes. He turned around and with a confused expression asked if he was okay. Soryang created a large hole in the ground. P and the others stopped chasing the intruders and approached the hole to help Soryang. Thanks to their help, he got out of the hole and thanked them since he thought he was done for. He turned his head back and something caught his attention. Beneath him there were a bunch of green snakes, staring at him intently. Soryang couldn't help but start sweating and feeling fear, realizing it was a snake nest. He began observing the snakes and explained that snakes often gathered where the Yin-Kai was strong, particularly during this season. They were unusually aggressive, so he asked Soryang to stay alert. Soryang couldn't help but sweat in fear. One of the snakes opened its mouth, ready to attack. For him, this was strange since tiger-striped water snakes typically weren't so hostile. The sky was filled with black clouds. Soryang admitted it was his fault they had been delayed. He knew it was going to rain, so he suggested moving quickly. T and the other man turned around, thinking he was right. They started running again since they couldn't lose sight of the intruders. Not far from them, a light could be seen. P turned to Soryang mentioning that they had found them. The masked men were furious. They were in a dead-end alley. Behind there was a rocky mountain. And while the sky was thundering, P and the others arrived, surrounding them. P and the others put their hands inside their clothes, announcing that this was where the escape ended. Soryong remained silent, while on the other side, one of the men's gaze fixed on the intruders, giving the order to the others, tighten the encirclement. The members of Unit Venom Blood drew their kunais, and upon seeing this, the masked men also unsheathed their weapons. Unit Venom Blood began advancing toward them, ready to attack. While the man wielding a sword was moving toward them, two men threw kunais, but one of the ninjas deflected them using his dagger. The man attacked with force and his sword and the ninjas' daggers clashed against each other. They were furious to see how strong this guy was. One of the ninjas moved quickly and gave a strong kick to the man's face, making him drop his weapon. They ordered him to get out of their way. Seeing this, the member of the Venom Blood unit couldn't help but panic. While the ninjas were distracted, something started approaching them at great speed. It was P. He tried to attack by surprise, but the ninja crouched quickly, dodging the attack. P began to observe in silence. The ninja took small jumps to retreat, but P used his skill called Triple Mirage Kill and threw his kunai towards the ninja. The kunai started flying towards the ninja and then exploded only to shoot into 3 kunais. Upon seeing this, the ninja was speechless. Luckily, he blocked 2 of the daggers, but one of them stuck in his shoulder, causing him severe pain. He put his hand over the wound. P began to approach, calling him a lucky bastard. 2 of the ninjas had already fallen and only one remained standing. But he was injured. P and the others started walking toward him. This guy should consider himself fortunate that the rain had diluted the poison on P's kunai. P began staring at the ninja with a furious gaze, but then someone started laughing upon seeing so many pitiful insects gathered together. P and the others stopped in their tracks, somewhat confused. P went on alert and with a serious gaze asked who they were. At that moment, someone descended from the top of the rocky mountain, landing in front of the ninja, shattering the ground into pieces. He was an old man with a beard, with an evil smile. He began to observe Soryong and the others with a murderous gaze. Upon feeling his energy, P couldn't help but go on alert, revealing that he was a martial arts master, giving the order to his men to step back. The old man's body began to emit a malignant energy. He stood up and with a smile started walking towards them. He asked the ninja if they had recovered it. In response, the ninja closed his eyes and took out the book he was hiding under his clothes, explaining that it was not the original but a copy recorded by the Tang clan. This caught Soryong's attention, leaving him somewhat surprised. His eyes widened when he remembered that the great patriarch had told him that the book was something only bad people looked at. His attention fixed on the book, and it didn't take long for him to realize that this was a copy of the bad book his grandfather was reading last time. They had tied up one of the ninja's bodies. Soryong, who was sitting next to him, revealed to P that the book was a copy of Blood Hand Poison Art's secret manual, leaving him somewhat surprised. His eyes filled with rage, causing him to clench his teeth tightly. The ninja handed the book to the old man, who opened it and began reading it with a sinister smile. P clenched his fist out of anger, not knowing what kind of people would dare to covet something so sinister. He wanted the old man to reveal his identity. With a smile, the old man began flipping through page by page. It was just as he had suspected. Since it was a copy, the book contained the forms of the techniques but lacked the critical formulas. Even so, it was more than enough. After reading it, he closed the book. Although it was a bit premature, there was no better way to announce their return. He gave permission to the ninja called Bloody Glory to unleash the martial arts of cultivation, giving him the order not to leave anyone alive. Bloody Glory cracked his fingers and with a gaze full of determination, promised to fulfill the order. Next to him was the corpse of one of his companions. He extended his hand toward it and concentrated. A red energy began to emerge from his hand, and not long after, blood shot out from the corpse toward his hand. P's eyes widened in fear upon realizing what technique this guy was using. While on the other side, Soryong put his hands on his head. He couldn't believe he had just seen something so terrifying. The ninja's eyes began to glow, and with a smile, he started absorbing the blood from the corpse through his hand. In the blink of an eye, the kunai that was lodged in his shoulder fell to the ground, and his wound healed completely. The old man began to smile like a madman. He summoned a ball of energy in his hand, and with an evil gaze revealed that he was none other than an elder of the blood cult, the Blood Hawk Dagger Claw named Lord Guchenak. Soryong clenched his teeth and drew his kunai. Guchenak's attention fixed on him, realizing that he was in good shape. Drool began to emerge from his mouth. He licked his lips and his eyes started to shine as it had been a while since he had tasted the pure blood of the young. So, friends, this chapter comes to an end. What will happen next? We'll uncover it in the next chapter. Don't forget to rate this chapter out of 10 in the comments. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.